everybody, it's Tom Stevens, your resident psychotherapist, here to break down a recent event that happened mainly because I saw this on TikTok. And it's Bobby Moody, who had apparently completed suicide recently and had a pretty huge TikTok account. When I somehow had popped up every now and then, his videos had popped up about him with his daughter's family, wife. They all kind of made these funny videos together, and a story unfolds behind it. I wanted to bring this to light because of the importance of mental health and because of what someone ending their life can do to everyone else in their life. So don't judge a book by its cover. What you see on the surface isn't always what's underneath. And I wanted to get into this just to let you see how important it is to get help so that it doesn't end up at this spot. I really struggle with this because I see it a lot in my office, and I want people to know that having you here is way more valuable than having you gone. But without further ado, let's get into this. Bobby Moody and his family, him ending his life at 46 years old.
TikToker and dad of 3, Bobby Moody, has died by suicide at age 46. The internet star's family confirms that Bobby died at his Mississippi home on April 28th at age 46. He is survived by his wife Jennifer and their 3 kids, Caitlin, Max, and Charlie. His daughter Caitlin shares this statement in a TikTok video, saying, quote, "Bobby was a loving husband, father, brother, and friend. On April 28th, he was a victim of suicide. Bobby was full of life and laughs, but also weighed down by financial pressures. His wife, Jennifer, and their 3 children are in an emotional and financial crisis."
This is so hard for me to hear. You know, you can pick all this apart all you want. The struggles that this family must be going through, this wife and the children. If they had no idea what was going on, number one, that is terrible and sad. It's very sad because it's such a shock, and you lose somebody that you just had here in your world and weren't aware of what was going on. So it's just like, your jaw drops to wonder what in the world. It's just so sad for them to lose that. And I'm sure there were struggles. I'm sure there were inklings of things that were going on. But if he kept all this so secret, that's what I was reading. He kept a lot of it secret, and their house ended up getting foreclosed on. So it does go to show you that even famous social media influencers don't always just make money. And a lot of people think because you're on TikTok or because you're on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, you make tons of money. You actually don't. It doesn't work that way all the time, but also it's in the way you manage money. So maybe they're living above their means, or maybe he's not able to keep the same job that he's had before, because I thought I saw something where he has been successful in his life. It's just that sometimes the market turns and economy turns, and it's very hard to keep things going. And if you have any kind of mental or emotional struggles, which obviously he did, this wouldn't end up the way it did without him having a lot of mental and emotional struggles and never being able to just bring it out and talk about it, because that's what I want people to go into my office for. I'm going to put my life out there because I don't want anything terrible to happen to it. And I want to find a way to work through this. It is way better for him to be here. When I read that statement, I think, I don't think he was a victim of suicide. I think she's being as kind as she can, and she's being as appropriate as she can. He was a victim of a lot of mental and emotional challenges that he could not cope with and didn't know how to ask for help for, and a victim of a lot of life circumstances that might have happened. However, that ultimate choice is something I preach over and over to people. Just please go beg for help, get somewhere and get some help, and tell them exactly where you're at so that you can deal with it. What I would give to be able to help this family, and I'm there for this family. Obviously, I'm way over in Texas. I think they're in another state. I would do anything to be able to help them and be there for them, especially the mom, the children, anybody, as they recover through this, because it is a lifetime now of questions, a lifetime of sadness, a lifetime of wondering what could it have been, a lifetime of bargaining and just figuring out how did this happen and how do I move on, and all the celebrations, all the weddings, all the birthdays, all the anniversaries, the things that he won't be here for now, which is so sad. But a sweet statement honoring him and trying to say we've got a lot to deal with that we haven't seen before and we got to catch up. And they're just going, it's grief, and it's going to last a long time.
As he was their rock. Along with the message, the video features a series of throwback photos of Bobby with his family and directs viewers to a GoFundMe page set up on their behalf. In the caption, Caitlin calls her father her best friend and remembers him as the most amazing dad, brother, uncle, and friend. She adds, quote, "He had such an impact on not only his family, but those around him. He was and is still so loved by so many. He will forever be remembered." Bobby, who had accumulated more than 361,000 followers, often posted videos of himself and his family to TikTok, with his bio playfully noting he was, quote, "just here to embarrass my daughter." His last video, shared on April 26th, featured Caitlin doing what he called an imitation of the annoying baseball fans sitting next to him at one of her games. However, creating content wasn't all that Bobby enjoyed. His obituary says, quote, "He was an avid outdoor enthusiast and enjoyed fishing, hunting."
You look at this and think, must have wanted so badly to just keep everybody else, feeling okay about life and feeling comfortable in life that he couldn't. And this happens to men a lot, y'all. You've got to pay attention to this, man. Happens to men a lot, that I don't want to admit the way things really are, because then I'm a failure. Then I need help. Then I'm not capable of being able to keep this family going, keep this marriage going. And so from the sounds of what she's saying, which is an adorable message, about him and the impact he's had on her life. And what I say to that is that's kudos to that, for her to feel that much love and that much connection with him. And he just had to keep everything from them to where they couldn't see what was really going on behind the scenes, which I would want people to know. But secondly, all that connection, all that life, all that relationship is now gone for the children, for his wife. It's gone. They don't have it anymore. And they can't pull from that anymore. And the sadness that comes from that is immense. It takes a lot of really strong therapy to be able to get through, number one, the trauma of what happened, because all of a sudden he's here and he's gone. Number two, the long-standing grief of not having him here to feed off of anymore in that same way. And number three, the rebuilding of yourself, each of them, the rebuilding of themselves, of now kind of like we say in our family, the three-legged dog that walks around. We still move and we still function, but it's not the same as having all four legs and having our rock here.
And camping. He was an Ole Miss fanatic and wore his Ole Miss hat with pride. It continues, quote, "He was happiest showing his love and support for his kids. He was often the loudest voice on the sidelines, cheering on his children at their sporting and educational events. He approached life with a contagious enthusiasm and a smile." If you are struggling with suicidal thoughts or experiencing a mental health crisis, please call the 24/7 National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988 or go to suicidepreventionlifeline.org.
Amen to this. Like that 988 number, which is new, and I think a lot of people don't know about it, is a great hotline to be able to go to when you're really struggling. And this is why I put emphasis on this. Not because this is drawing news, but because this doesn't need to happen. It doesn't. And if he is that outgoing, if he is that loving, if he's that caring and considerate and kind to his family and to other people and cheering and an enthusiast outdoors, all the stuff that he's got, he deserves to be here. He should be here. And the way to get here is to get help. The way to get here is to call somebody and to say, I need to sit down. I need to be honest. This is where I'm at in life, and I need help to be able to get through it, and get a team around you that can wrestle that, because I don't want another family to have to suffer from this. I also want to be able to pull up another clip for y'all that is, I believe, from his wife. I think this is who she is. It was in the middle of the clip, but she was talking about the situation, because I think it's good to get that perspective as well. Always good to hear his daughter and the comments she makes, and she seems so sweet, kind, and mature to be able to handle it the way that she has. But a lot of tragedy going on for that family right now with the loss that's been happening.
I've known him for 22 years. This was not something, the financial issues were not something that me or his friends or family were aware of. And
I need all well, let's speak husband and wife here in this scenario, with this scenario. I want this wife to be aware exactly of the financial situation. There should not be a family where the husband or the wife is not aware of what's going on. There should be regular meetings. There should be budgeting meetings. There should be looking at what we have saved, what we owe, what we spend, all of that. In a great marriage is going to be out in the open. And I don't mean everybody needs to worry about that. Some people don't have to worry about the money side. But I think it's critical. I think it's vital for couples to talk about money. I think it's vital for couples to talk about what they make, what they owe, what they spend, what their budgets are, what their plans are. It's just important in terms of a relationship to have this. So for her to be not aware of it, that's the heartbreaking part. That's the shocking part, because we had this life and this is what was going on and I had no idea. But men, you need to disclose that and get over the pride and put it out there. And women, you need to be open and also confrontive in a nice way of, I want to be a part of the process. I want to be a part of what the finances are. Because a lot of times a husband might say, no, I'll take care of this. And I see husbands that say, I don't know anything's going on and my wife just does everything. But you need to be a part of the process. You need to talk about what you have, what you make, what you spend, what you owe, just everything in terms of planning and budgeting, because it can help things like this get faced sooner.
And he had the personality to not want to burden others. But I also feel like that there is a lot of people in this world who have the big, beautiful smile, just like he does. And you see a person with so much joy and love and laughter, but I want to press that everyone can have external and internal problems. And even though they may have a big smile on their face, they still may be dealing with things that no one can be aware of right now.
I think it is critical to know that. She said it so well, that this is something other people need to be aware of. She doesn't want to be the perspective in this situation. She doesn't want to be the one that people look at and say, oh, wow, that's a wake-up call for me. It's not fun to be in her situation. It's not great. It's sad. It's terrible. It's tragic. And she's telling people that don't judge a book by its cover. Just because somebody shows a smile and a great big personality doesn't mean they don't have issues behind the scenes. So we need to be able to pay attention to that. That's why I think therapy matters. Even when your life's not just in a disastrous state, having a therapist on call is always good, because it helps you stay in check and see what might be happening that's not going so good, especially in today's world.
Now, I just want to tell you that our church and our community have really embraced us. Just so many blessings that I feel like that God is sending our way. And the next steps are in action are, of course, grief therapy
Yes.
for me and the kids. That's the most important thing. I feel like that I can't navigate now as the leader of the home without having proper counseling.
That is so well said. She's doing a fabulous job with what's going on right now in speaking. Love to talk to her because, and again, I would be here for this family with whatever they need. EMDR is clearly what they need as a piece of the treatment, eye movement desensitization reprocessing, because it will help desensitize the brain to the triggers of the trauma that are going on here. And such a shock of either what they've seen, what they've heard about, what they're imagining in their head, but also just the grief counseling to know, whatever age they're at, that this is going to bring with it all kinds of feelings, all kinds of moods, all kinds of new situations that they didn't expect. In other words, where my life was predictable before, I could count on this rock, this family the way it is now severed. And I don't know how I'm going to feel minute to minute, because when I want to pick up the phone and call dad, when I want to go home and hear his voice, when I see something, when I smell something in the house and it reminds me of him, there are so many reminders going on that they can't, they won't make another TikTok video like they've done before. There are so many reminders that he is not here, and she's doing a great job of holding it down. But like she said, I can't be the leader without the counseling I need. number one, to go through all the stages of grief that are there, but number two, to almost digest what's happened and get through the shock piece. The first thing that'll happen here, it's happening, is shock. She's clearly in shock because she's speaking so well in the midst of this tragedy. And that's what shock does for us. It protects us. It's a layer of protection to help us get through things. But she's wise enough to know, I need help. I need outside intervention. That's why mental health matters. That's why I love that 988 hotline that people can dial if they're really in crisis. But when you get a good team around you, when you get the family, the community, the people that you need around you to rally and support you, that is super valuable.
And then hopefully I can be able to lead my kids and help them through. We all four have different grieving processes right now.
Amen. Yes.
Having all of his videos with his voice and his singing and dancing has brought us so much joy. And I think it's also brought a lot of our friends joy to be able to even reshare those. And I have over 3 years worth of so much content that is documented for me that I never thought that I would need and love so much. What I would like to do is I would like to combine his TikTok and still have it fun loving, silly, and still show our family. But then I would also like to educate as well, because I would like for them to be combined where people can see that just because you're on social media, you do not have to look perfect. Sometimes we need to ask for help.
Oh, that's so good. Sometimes we need to ask for help.
Sometimes we can show a weakness.
That's true. Sometimes it's okay to show a weakness. Sometimes it's okay to be imperfect. And just because you have a social media following doesn't mean your life's amazing. And I think as they go down this process, all those videos bring joy. And you wonder, did he feel like he had to just end things? I just kind of wonder, like, sometimes they feel like this is one way to keep things from getting worse, to keep the mountain of debt from continuing to climb. And, whether that's just relief of them getting out of the debt and not having to owe all that, a life insurance policy or something. I've seen people in my practice where that happens. They have a life insurance policy. They figure they'd be better without me, and they'll have some money and they'll be able to make it, and I won't keep burdening them. And that's the sad part, is they would rather have him here and have all kinds of debt than to have him gone, and be clear of that. And she's just going through it the best she can. Very well said. But she wants to combine the social media with a mental health platform, it sounds like, and being able to say that it's okay to show and reveal your real self.
And it's okay. And so I would like to combine the two to where it is a fun app still, but it's also a safe place. Maybe if I can help someone, if my daughter Caitlin can help someone, if we can lead them, if we can remind them that they are important, that everyone is important. If I could say one last thing to him, I would just want him to say that I love him, and I would want to tell him that he has so many people that care for him, so many people that loved him, so many people that loved his smile and his laughter. And it's okay as a human to share if you need help, to share if you're in pain.
Yeah, well said. But I got to tell you, there had to be some history there of him having mental or emotional issues. Maybe not super duper extreme, but just the ups and the downs, and she had to kind of at least hear some kind of pressure from him, I'm sure, of, stress or irritation or frustration or sadness or withdrawal. It's just all kinds of ups and downs and around. And she'll work through that with counseling. The counseling's super valuable. You got to get good help with that. If you get good therapy, it's amazing how much better life can be. And not quickly. This is going to take a long time for them. I want to shed light on this because I think it's super valuable for people to hear that this can happen to anyone. And please ask for help. Therapy matters. I say it over and over again, but that's why we're doing reaction therapy, is to show you that mental health matters and getting help matters. Talk to someone about it and know that just because you see somebody smiling doesn't mean they're all okay. Let's talk about how we're really doing in life and be honest with it. Thanks so much. Check the link in the description. If you want professional help, go to the 988 number if you want suicide prevention, because I think it is super valuable. And it's there for a reason. We need to shed light on that so that we can keep people from not being here. We want to keep people here in their families, creating great memories like this. And go to our Discord server, over 3,000 people. Thanks so much for being here. Mental health matters. We'll see you on the next Reaction Therapy.